Why did Jimin come alone on what was supposed to be Jungkook's most special day? Is this a sign of BTS's broken relationship? Or is it precisely the most sincere moment behind the camera? Your comments can open the eyes of the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below because this is not an ordinary moment. Asterisk, did you see it too? The figure stands alone in the crowd without the other members, without the lavish accompaniment, without the frenetic camera. Only his piercing gaze, calm steps, and facial expressions are difficult to explain. Was it a restrained tear, or a relief that quietly pinched his chest? Why is it only Jimin who comes when Jungkook returns? And why does this moment feel deeper than any grand welcome we've ever seen? That day, the sky over Seoul seemed more melancholy than usual. Incheon Airport is bustling with a frenzy of reporters and fans who know one thing for sure: Jungkook is finally home from his long stint. But unexpectedly, what kept all the cameras silent for a moment and the army gripping their chests tighter was the fact that out of all the possible people who could be present, only one person actually came: Park Jimin. No taehyung, no RM, no Jeon, no Suga, no J-Hope. Only Jimin. And this is where the mystery begins. It does not bring flowers. Do not carry large banners. He just stood near the exit, wearing a black hoodie and a mask that covered almost his entire face. The army knows. Army asterisk always asterisk knows. His eyes can't lie. And as soon as Jungkook stepped outside, wearing his uniform and carrying a small smile that seemed to be trained not to break into tears, time seemed to stop. Jungkook stopped his steps. Jimin took off his mask. And among the millions of camera clicks, there is one moment that is not captured in the lens. A nod. 1 second. A feeling that can only be understood by both of them, and now, also by anyone who has ever loved in silence. But before we talk about the hug that made the entire army shed tears, there's one big unanswered question. Is this a personal decision? Or is there something going on behind the scenes? Could this have something to do with HYB's internal rumors that have been only a whisper? Or rather, a form of love that is too sincere to be displayed crowded? That question brings us to a series of previous events that begin to feel relevant when we look back. Like puzzle pieces that initially look ordinary, now all begin to form a big picture that is surprising. Do you remember when Jimin looked gloomy in one of the last VLIs before Jungkook entered the army? Or when Jungkook didn't mention a single name when asked about messages for other members? And the most striking, when Jimin once deleted a photo of the two of them from his uploads. Many guess that it's just an agency strategy, but it's getting here. It all started to seem like something much more personal. The day of the pickup, Jimin even came early. He stood there for an hour before Jungkook's arrival. No staff. There are no managers. It's his own. And when someone from the security team tried to steer him to a safer place, Jimin only briefly replied, "If he sees me first, that's enough." The sentence sounds simple, but in their world full of scripts and media maneuvers, words are like screams. If he sees me first, that's enough. What happened over the past 2 years between them? And why, of all the members, only Jimin is asterisk waiting asterisk? When Jungkook finally came out, his steps had stopped. Not because of the army, not because of the camera, but because his gaze met someone. Someone he hoped would come, or someone he thought wouldn't come, but it turned out to come on its own. They don't run after each other. No excessive drama. But their embrace, a hug that lasted barely 2 minutes, was more emotional than any farewell speech. Jungkook even bowed his head on Jimin's shoulder. And if you look closely at the scattered amateur video footage, Jungkook's lips move slightly, like he's whispering something. Some army speculated the sentence was, "Thank you. You came." But that's not all that's surprising. As Jungkook and Jimin walked towards the waiting black car, someone from the crowd shouted, "Where are the others? Jimin, huh?" And this is what really gets everyone glued. Jimin stopped, turned towards the source of the sound, and in a quiet but clear voice recorded by the camera's microphone, he answered, "For today, I'll do it." Those words are not just statements. It was a decision, a form of determination, and it could be a form of accountability. Does this mean that there are internal problems among the members? Is Jungkook's relationship with the other members strained? Or rather, this is a promise that only two people who once held the world against each other understand. After their car drove away, photos appeared from different angles. One of them showed that in the car, Jungkook was holding Jimin's hand. Not with the usual grip, but like someone who has just returned from the battlefield and needs one handle to still feel real. And what is even more astonishing, in the front seat there is no one. There are no managers, no driver. The car even seems to be driven by Jimin himself. Army immediately flooded social media with various reactions. Many cried. Many are confused. Many develop theories. One of the viral posts even referred to this as the most silent yet the loudest love story ever told in a public space. Now the question leads to the future. What does this mean for their relationship? Is this a signal that Jimin and Jungkook have a bond that goes beyond coworkers, beyond members, even beyond everything we've interpreted as friendship? And did the other members deliberately not come as a form of respect for something that only the 7 of them knew about? There is no official statement from HYB, no clarification from other members, but precisely because of that, this moment feels so honest, not regulated, not polished, not curated. Only one person stood waiting. One guy's coming home. In between them, an embrace that made the whole world hold its breath. Maybe in the end, it's not about who doesn't come, but about who does not go. And for now, that's all. That's enough, Jimin. And just like fate hates coincidences, an hour after the black car disappeared from the airport, an anonymously uploaded photo emerged. A blur image showing the 6 other BTS members eating together in a fairly exclusive place. Without Jimin, without Jungkook, the question instantly burned social media. Why did they get together, but didn't come to pick up Jungkook? Why wasn't Jimin invited to that moment of togetherness? Is there really something going on between them? Did the relationship of the 7 people we considered unshakable begin to crack from the inside without anyone really realizing it until today? One of the viral comments wrote, "Why is Jimin always the only one who stands alone when the others choose to stay together?" The comments hurt, but it also opened the door to a speculation that had long circulated in ARMY whispers, that behind all the harmony displayed to the public, there had once been divisions, disappointments, and small wounds kept tight. And perhaps Jimin is the one who most often bleeds in silence. Remember when B came back? Jimin looked emotional during the victory speech, while several other members were seen holding their distance. Also remember when Jungkook cried during a V-Live broadcast but quickly switched the topic when someone mentioned Jimin's name in the comments. There are little bits and pieces that used to be considered trivial, now they look like evidence that has been waiting to be linked for a long time. There have been loud rumors from within the Korean entertainment industry that Jimin once had a sharp disagreement with HYB's staff over their decision to censor a certain part of a BTS documentary that involved Jungkook and himself in an emotional conversation. Some even called the scene too personal and not in line with BTS brand direction. But does inappropriate mean too frank? Then the question becomes deeper. Are there any parts of Jimin and Jungkook that the company wants to hide? And if so, why? Exactly one day after that pickup, fans began to find unsettling digital traces. Jimin, who has been following all BTS members' accounts on his second personal account, suddenly left only one, Jungkook. It didn't take long for theories to emerge. It's not just about friendship. It's about someone who chooses star. They say Jimin is the heart. But what if that heart has too long assumed the role of soothing the wounds of others, without ever having a place to put its own? And what if Jungkook, who has always been considered the protected younger brother, instead keeps a pent up loyalty to just one person, not to the group, not to the label, but to someone who once vowed to not leave even when everything changes? But the silence did not last long. Hours after photos of the 6 members went viral, a former BTS staffer who used a pseudonym uploaded a lengthy thread on a Korean social platform that instantly rocked the ARMY community. He wrote that the moment Jungkook was picked up by Jimin was not a coincidence. It was a form of resistance. Resistance to what? He didn't mention it directly. But the last sentence of the upload made the public shiver. You can alienate a person from the camera, but you can't stop him from loving silently. The thread was immediately flooded with thousands of comments, some calling it cheap speculation, but not a few linked the phrase to an old video of Jungkook and Jimin that was once removed from the official channel because, according to claims by some ARMY veterans, it's too intimate for an idol image. We live in a world shaped by stage illusions and agency imagery, and when someone dares to violate the narrative choreography that has been so neatly constructed over the years, the world shakes. The same thing happened that night. when Jungkook suddenly deleted his latest promotional photo, the only one showing himself with all the members, from his personal account. Without explanation. No reason. It just vanished. The one left behind? Photo Jimin. The only photo that has survived in his public gallery is the moment when they are sitting side by side on an old sofa, dressed in the same hoodie, without studio lighting, without drafts. Just a tired smile and Jungkook's hand clasping Jimin's fingers like someone who was afraid of losing. Is it just nostalgia, or in the form of a personal statement? That for Jungkook, true comfort does not come from a fancy stage or hysterical fans, but from one figure waiting at the airport, quietly, without cameras, and hugging him like home. One well-known Korean pop culture columnist even implied that BTS is no longer a whole entity, but individuals who survive for their own reasons. And when someone chooses to stay because of love, then whoever stands outside that love will seem like an enemy. Now public attention has turned to the absence of Taehyung, a man who has been predicted to have strong ties to Jungkook. His absence at the airport, even a mere post of greeting, raises more questions than explanations. Has anything happened between Jungkook and Taehyung? And was Jimin in the middle of that secretly burning fire? There has been sharp speculation that BTS internal dynamics have changed drastically, not only because of conscription or individual busyness, but because of emotional conflicts that can no longer be controlled by contracts or management. Some fans began to unpack old archives. Taehyung's interactions began to feel cold when Jungkook mentioned Jimin's name in a radio interview. The moment when Taehyung seemed to avoid eye contact with Jimin while backstage at the end of the year concert. Then a cut of Jungkook's fancam rubbing his eyes as Jimin stepped off the stage early after the encore session. Are we witnessing the remnants of an emotional love triangle that has been buried for too long? Maybe there was never romantic love, but love doesn't always have to be romantic to be destructive. And the deepest wounds often come from the people we trust the most. There are fans who write bitterly on social media. If it's true that they fight because they love each other differently, is it their fault? Or is it our fault for refusing to let them be human? *HYB, until this moment, remains silent. Yet his silence felt more like a strategy than ignorance. It is as if they know that whatever they say will only aggravate the wounds that the world has already seen. They chose to let the army scramble to piece together the truth, because it was possible. The truth itself can no longer be controlled, and now the big question is no longer just, why did Jim come alone? But, what's really going on behind Jungkook's smile and Jimin's embrace? They are saving something fragile. Or is it saying goodbye in the calmest way, in the grand narrative constructed by the media, fans, and industry? We often forget that the people in the middle of the glitter have a heart. And a wounded heart can choose silence in the loudest way. That day, Jimin didn't just come alone. It came as a message. As a form of affirmation, and maybe even as an unannounced farewell. A few days after that pickup moment, the mood on social media changed dramatically. Not only is Jimin and Jungkook's embrace still the hottest topic, but one small act from Jimin sparked a storm. He uploaded a new photo, just one photo, on his personal Instagram. A portrait of the twilight sky, with a cryptic caption, "Too much to keep quiet, too little to hear." No name, no location, but everyone knows who it is aimed at. The comments were immediately flooded with speculation. ARMY began to dig again: old interactions, stage recordings, highlights behind the camera. Even more surprising was the audacity of a former BTS manager, who is known to have been out since last year, to write a cryptic comment under Jimin's post. "You've been a shield to everyone. Time to talk." The comment was immediately deleted, but the screenshot has already spread across thousands of fan groups. And in an instant, all attention shifted. What exactly has Jimin been protecting all this time? And was that hug at the airport the last form of resistance before everything covered up over the years finally leaked? Rumors began to circulate, even among HYB's own staff, that prior to enlistment, Jungkook had sent a personal letter to management. The contents of the letter were never leaked. But there was one sentence that was cited as the reason why he refused to appear on one of the major variety shows before enlisting in the army. "I can't pretend to be intimate with someone who betrayed my heart." The word betray is a trigger. Is it addressed to a fellow member, or is it to the system that makes him have to stand still for too long? And in the midst of that chaos of speculation comes one name that is starting to be mentioned far too often. Taehyung. A person from the fashion world who has worked with Taehyung leaked that some time ago. In a private photo session, Taehyung once said in a very cold tone, "Sometimes the ones you protect the most are the ones who stab you in the back." That sentence was once considered a personal comment about industrial friendship. But now, many believe it is a deeper form of disappointment, and all eyes are on Jungkook and Jimin. What exactly happened between the three of them? Is it true that right now, Taehyung and Jungkook's relationship is just a formality? Some ARMY began to point out that in official photos, the physical distance between them is now getting longer. No more staring at each other. No more physical jokes. All are chilling, choreographed, and too perfect to be called real. Then came a video from a Japanese fan site that has been known to be very careful in uploading content. In the video, captured